Hi everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some more Doors of Dunera today. So I'm going to say a few things before we head around the table and say hello to all these lovely faces that you see here. First of all, please check out the content warning for this game and also the Discord. We do have a channel just for this. And we'd love to hear what you think. If you've missed out on anything, you can head over to YouTube and catch up over there. And also, if you'd like to get into a game, head over to Twitter and drop Scrat a DM. As I adjust the music volumes, bear with just a moment. Scrat, leave my music alone. A huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Hero Forge. We now have a show where we get to play around with their beta every Wednesday at 2 p.m. EDT. It's so much fun, and they've got even more updates coming, which I'm super excited about. So please go and check that out. Also, the wonderful Mage Hand Press that you can now buy their Dark Matter in hardback, which is basically D&D in space, which is something everyone needs in their lives. And also their Faith Folio, which is one of our viewer games, if you want to come and try that out. We also have the Deck of Many with the Deck of Many Things, the moving magic spell cards, which have played quite a lot. Look at them, look how shiny. Oh, that have played quite a dramatic effect in this game. And there is a story arc coming with the ones that came from last week. They also have their Kickstarter, which they're just introducing more and more things. It's amazing. They've blown it out of the water. And I can't wait to get my hands on a set of those moving tarot cards for my games. Also, last but certainly not least, also Dungeon Fog. For whether it's a one-shot, whether it's a campaign, it helps you build your map and the notes to go alongside it. And if you update the map or update the notes, the other one updates automatically. So all the information is kept fine. I've rambled enough, so let's hop around and say hello to everyone, starting with the lovely Jagon's Gold. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I am Jay, or Jagon's Gold, and I will be playing Paula Packer, our dancer librarian, who is very confused about this box in the middle of the frozen north, apparently left by her father. Just strange stuff all around. Yeah, Paula's very excited and concerned.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we're going to hop down and say hello to the lovely Claw School. Oh, hi.
Hey, how are you doing? I am playing Edric Caldwell, who is... it's been a lot. It's been a lot. But he is the apprentice of Tolan Falk, who I was playing in previous seasons, who is now getting used to sort of this weird amalgamation of his own magic and Tolan's magic, as he now seems to be able to be a shaper as well, but he's not really good at it yet. And he's feeling a little homesick, and he's missing Tolan, and we're up here freezing our butts off in the Arctic North. And there's a bridge, and there's a box, and there's a giant. Oh my.
Some giants, oh my. Wonderful, thank you. Then we're going to hop around and say hello to the lovely Mal. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, I'm Mal. I play Reese Blackash, and I'm going to use my new phrase that Mac gave me last time. And Reese is our tired wolf dad. He's got a very big wolf, and he's extremely done with everything at this point. And we still push on like you do.
Awesome, thank you. And last but certainly not least, the lovely Sarah.
Hey all, on the internet, I am this, and in this game I play Florence Fetlock. She is a courier who delivers messages from the player's side of the Vale, or what she kind of considers the side where those who are living live, and then there's the other sides of the other Vales where spirits live, and she's able to communicate with them. And in last week's episode, Florence has become the proud owner of a double-sided, almost like a polearm with hammers on either side. It's made out of this beautiful obsidian and slate rock that they got from a giant, and it disconnects to become two separate hammers. And it was, of course, made by the very deft hands of Edric. So excited to maybe see that get some action.
Awesome. Thank you. And we're going to hop straight back into where we were last week, where after there'd been a bit of a scuffle and a fight with this group to get hold of Gideon, Polla approached this arch. And at the moment, this campfire burns quite brightly as the orange light is sort of dancing over all of you and casting those long shadows up the side of the mountain. Then the stone archway stands. Polla, back to the rest of you, in front of it. In the distance, no more than a few more hours' walk is the Bridge of Thara. And it's so close now. Polla, you stand with the box in your hands. A set of leather gloves, very dark brown leather, sort of intricately decorated. Half this pendant that you almost recognize from the one you dropped in those alleyways in Karnan. And that letter. And as you hold it, that sort of very wintry breeze sort of tries to take it from you, but you can hold it tightly and read those words again. Well done, sweetie. Now come find me. What do you do?
Whoa. Paula trembles with the breeze. She folds the letter up, carefully puts it back in the box, and then goes to inspect the gloves a little closer.
Okay. What are you trying to find out about the gloves?
So Paula has some experience with magic gloves in the sense that she has a pair right now from the church that has the light ability. So I think she's going to try to compare it to that at first and see if this indicates to maybe having some kind of special ability attached to it.
Okay.
Persistent magic.
Could you roll me an intellect check, please? Straight up so I can see how much you know about this as you look it over.
Could it be identifying?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I am... What do I have? I'm just gonna use 2 for my pool.
Okay. So you look them over and you turn them over in your hands, which are already gloved because of how cold it is out here. And you look at them, they look quite thin, but they do look very warm on the inside. You can feel very, very sort of smooth material. They've got these on the tops. You can see these intricate sort of swirls and designs, and with a lot of floral sort of decoration over the top. But as you flip them over in the palms, you see sort of just embossed in the leather 2 kestrels. And you can definitely sense magic in this. I will say you sense a very different type of magic to what you can actually feel within the ones from the church. Those are almost more mechanical kind of magic, whereas this looks like it's been... The best way to describe it, you feel like it's been soaked in magic, like the way you'd soak something in a dye.
Paula hesitates, but then the curiosity gets the best of her, and she tries on that glove for size.
You try it, you take off your other glove, very quickly probably put the other one on with how cold it is. And the weird thing about this is that it fits you perfectly. As if it was made for you. And as you do, you sort of feel your hands very, very warm, even though they're nowhere near as thick as those other gloves. You can feel sort of a surge at that time. And can you roll another intellect check for me, please?
Okay. Is this more like a perception type thing?
Yeah, I'd say kind of perception.
Okay. Just gonna do a straight roll for this one.
Okay. So as you sort of do this, you move your fingers as you're looking at these patterns. And there's almost like a shimmer, a green shimmer that runs through the designs on these gloves. And as you're moving both of your hands around, there's a moment of just a second. And the others will see it too, but they see it more as a light than anything else. As the palms of your hands, you just see these green flames erupt from the palms of your hands.
Whoa, whoa! I think Paula panics and she like rips them off really quick, thinking she's on fire or something.
As soon as they leave your hand, they poof out in the snow.
Holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap. All right, putting those back in the box for now. And
seeing, because she had her back to us, so I don't think we saw her necessarily putting them on. But then after that reaction and the green flame, could I use my sense artifacts to maybe help her figure out how to use them or what they do?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Do I need to do a roll on top of that to see how much I get?
No, that's all good on that ability. You do you walk over and pick them up, or because what you originally saw was a green light that sort of casts up against the archway and Polla through gloves aside.
You throw them aside or put them in the box? Throw them back in the box.
I threw them back in the box, yeah.
So I just sort of, I you know, this nice soft leather sort of probably half in, half out of the box, laying over them. Just, what'd you find?
Good question. It seems to be some kind of package left to me by my dad, I guess. I mean, I know his inanaqui was a kestrel, and this letter is kind of leading me to believe that it could be him. But there's these gloves, and I mean, they set on fire when I put them on, so I'm a little nervous to play around with those. But I mean, you have a better handle on these types of old knickknacks and whatnot.
Well, I can see if there's some type of persistent magic happening there, or if they were based off of an artifact. If it's something, some of this new magic that we keep bumping into, I'm not sure if I can figure it out, but I can try. And so he'll take the minute to try to examine them to see what he can discover.
When you take them in your hand, nothing seems to happen. Like there's no reaction, there's nothing like that. But what you can see from working with artifacts and things like this, the gloves themselves are not magic. It's the fine green thread that is sewing the pattern into the gloves themselves. And as you sort of manage to look them over a couple of times, you recognize it's almost a very simple spell that you've seen before, but probably on your Seeker days or something like that. And this is a spell where an artifact is bound not to a person, but to a bloodline.
Okay.
So you have the feeling that the reason Polla's getting a reaction from it because it's part of her bloodline.
He'll look down and go, well, that makes sense. They're definitely from your father. Tolan showed me some of these things. a lot of times we would use it in some of our anything that people wanted other folks to inherit. That after they were gone, if they wanted to leave behind a favorite trinket or item or something along those lines that had been powered by their inanaqui, to make it persistent by tying it to their bloodline. So whether the next person, for people who had children who weren't magical and didn't have their own inanaqui, it would still be bound to them. So it's the thread. This green thread is been bound to, from your father to you. And I mean, whether you have a child or not, whether they're a magic user or not, this magic would still be functional, but only for you.
Well, that's pretty nifty. I'll have to find a nice clearing and play around with those at some point, but I mean, they set on fire when I put them on, so they seem to be a little chaotic.
Well, I'm not sure if they necessarily, well, first thing, I doubt your dad left you something that would harm you. I mean, maybe it's hand warmers gone wrong.
It's a possibility. I mean, it is a little chilly up here.
Or it could be kind of like how I incorporated that eel fin in, and he kind of lets little sparks come off his fingers. That if someone comes after you, that you've got a way to fight back, especially with these people who have been a lot more powerful than what we've experienced before.
Now that I have you here, there's something else in this box that I think you should take a look at. It's the other half of this pendant that my dad left me. I had another one back in Carnan, and it was able to repel some of those, the shadow creatures.
Wow.
You know, it kind of almost looked like it had maybe a piece of his inanaqui in it, as the heron, not the heron, the kestrel. I always say heron. The kestrel. It flew out of the amulet. I don't know if this one can do the same thing, but I mean, if you can glean any more information from taking a look at it, that would be super helpful.
Yeah, I'll take a minute to sort of examine it and see what it's all about, or if, again, just if it's just bound to her, or if there's something specific that I can glean that it does.
You look at this and say you're still looking sense artifacts, or so it looks like it's been made from a rock that you would recognize as not necessarily from here, but it's also not native to Khan. It's native to, I'm not too sure exactly where it's native to, because you think there's a blend of stone here. And as you look at it closer, there's absolutely nothing magical about it at all. But it does look like it's not half of a locket, but of a third.
Huh. Well, this isn't magic. But it's a part of a larger amulet. You said you had some of it back in Carnan that was magical. This is another piece. It's not magical, but perhaps even though it's not magic by itself, it might be able to amplify the magic of the rest of it. And it seems like there's even another piece, depending on how much of you had of the other part of the locket. This is only probably about a third. So I don't know whether you had 2/3 in what you used incarnate or just another third, and that there's still another piece missing. But again, if it was all in the same box, it was your dad's. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is cool. It's just super weird considering not that long ago I assumed he was dead, and all of a sudden he's writing notes to me as if he knows that I'm looking for him, which is not possible.
Well, he might have known that your curiosity and being a librarian, and that eventually one day you would. Sometimes you just do things on faith. I think parents, especially dads, kind of know. I mean, even though you never really met him, you gotta remember, he met you. He met you when you were very young, saw the curiosity for learning, for books, for discovering. And when he got involved with whatever he got involved with up here, sometimes you just, with a wing and a prayer, he looks down at the piece of the kestrel, hope, have faith in the people you love and who you trust.
I'm not a very faithful person or a very trusting person, but I'm a curious one, and I think that will be enough to keep me going for now.
Well, you use what you got, I guess.
Yeah. And hopefully using this will be helpful at one point or another. And Paula will try to slip the glove back on carefully away from her face.
You put it on and nothing happens, but you do see, and Edric will see it as well, as you put it on, that thread just gives a very soft glow before going back to normal again.
Well, that went better than last time.
Yeah, you all were just getting to know each other.
We should probably start heading to the bridge at some point soon. I know the others are probably getting antsy. Well, or though Gideon didn't look so good, maybe.
Well, maybe he can rest a little bit, but yeah, those people in the cage don't seem too happy with us, and I don't want to be anywhere close by when they get out.
Definitely not. I think at that point, Paula would close the box and we're still wearing the gloves and would head back to.
You can head back to the group, and it is like late evening now. The fire is set up and it's dark. It's almost pitch black out. And what's Florence doing as this conversation happens between Edric and Polla?
She's standing probably closer over to where Reese is, near where almost the wreckage of really Reese's wreckage and a little bit of the others that they've kind of cleaned up a little bit, and the people are packaged into the kind of the cage that used to hold Gideon's little friend. I think Florence is still standing there holding the hammers in either hand and just looking around, feeling kind of a mix of listless. She doesn't really know what to do next, and then also realizing that she feels really grateful that she didn't have to use them on anyone. When she was kind of rushing in, the adrenaline going, they knew Polla had been taken or tangled up in something, but was definitely in some kind of danger. She wasn't really thinking about what it would actually mean to use a weapon on someone else. But now that's, I think, starting to really sink in, and she's just really sitting with that uncomfortable feeling.
And Reese, you went patrolling with Boulder. Whereabouts are you? You on the edge of camp, or if you looked a bit further?
I think he started by just patrolling around the edge of this camp that they were going to take a little bit of a rest at, and eventually, trusting himself and Balder, he just kind of lets himself walk.
Okay. And as you walk around this place, you can easily see camp from where you are. And you can look back and you see Gideon laying there. His breathing is shallow, but he seems stable enough. You can see Florence kind of looking back at the fight you just had. And Boulder sort of gives you a bit of a nudge. You can feel him sort of like push his muzzle into your hand, and you look at him for a second. And you can see a reflection in his eyes. And in the sky above you, a meteor shower starts. As these lights just streak across the sky. And you hear Astrid sort of move, mainly just to get a little bit closer to Gideon. But there's a moment when you look at this field of light as it streaks across the sky, almost diving over the side of this Thara bridge, which you can see almost lit up by this. And it's been such a long time since you saw a meteor shower. And the last time you looked at it with much younger eyes. So we're going to do a little bit of a flashback for Reese. And Reese, how old are you? What do you look like? And where are you before you found Astrid?
He looks quite a bit younger. He was still 19, 20. He's probably got that really, like his hair's starting to grow out. His beard is growing in patchily because he's still pretty young, but he hasn't put the time in to shave or take care of it. And I think it's been a while since he's been near anyone at this point already. And with his hunting tools out, he's trying to track something to eat.
And how long has it been since Reese lost his sister?
A little over a month.
And where you are right now, the snow is deep, like it's up to your knees. But you're able to track. This is the terrain you've been brought up in. And as you track, the snow gets heavier and heavier. And it is cold. But you've been out in the cold many a time. You can see the mountains sort of around you. But this is a big, open, sort of white space. The odd tree here and there, and you've tracked this, what looks like a hare. Maybe for an hour or so. as you can see the trees grow sort of denser where they would hide. But those voices, those accusations that you hear in your head as they run over again and again. It's only been a month, but it feels like a lifetime. And you can hear their accusing words that you did this to her. You were supposed to be looking after her. What were you doing on sacred ground? You know you shouldn't be there. And the feeling that no one believes you and what happened that night. That you were obviously delirious, lost in the snow, and that the spirits just gave you this horrific image of this creature that came through a door or an archway. That was your way of dealing with it. Because you couldn't take that she died of cold, or maybe was attacked by a wild animal. But the words that run in your head so much is, it's your fault. How is he walking through this deep trudge snow, and what else is going through his head?
I think he's going slow, both because he's trying not to startle this hare and all of these thoughts on his mind, and he's only 20 and he's already just so tired.
And you track that hare. In fact, you can see it further up, just that little bit further up, in between the trees. You see the footprints at first, but you can see it, you know you're close because most of the footprints are sort of disappearing in this snow. You can feel it getting heavier and heavier, and you know you need to get out of it soon because it's turning into a blizzard. And then up ahead in between the trees, you see it. You can see the hare. And you sort of squint for a moment, almost as if you're just looking for that shape, that little silhouette of this hare, because the snow is coming thick and fast now, almost like a whiteout. What does Reese do?
I think he'll take one shot with the bow and arrow he's holding and hope he gets lucky. But if the conditions are this bad, this fast, it definitely is more important to get in shelter than it is to eat.
Could you roll me a speed check just to see if he does get it?
On a 1.
I mean, that plays well with the story, as we say.
It's because I didn't spend effort or roll with advantage.
You fire that arrow, and you hear it just through the snow. And you hear it thud, like it takes something, and you watch the hare drop from sight. And you sort of squint through the snow to see if you can see it. But as you do, there's something else in the snow. Something looming. And as you hear that arrow thud, you hear a roar as this huge bear comes charging out of the snow, out of the forest, crashing through the snow, tearing up these sort of piles. As it sees you, it's wounded, and it is roaring as it comes towards you. What does Reese do?
I think there's a moment of shock, because he wasn't expecting to find a bear, and he should have been able to notice the signs of that. And there's that split second of, well, you deserve this, before he turns and tries to sprint back the way he came in this blizzard.
Could you roll me a sprint, please? A speed.
Yes, and I'm gonna roll with my running because I've got that.
Yep.
14.
Yeah, you charge through the snow. You're sort of having to pick up your knees a lot higher than usual. It's almost like you're running through thick mud to try and get away from this thing. You can hear its heavy breath as it's more of a shadow for a moment until you finally see it as it comes through that blizzard towards you. Could you roll me a might check, please?
A 1.
Oh, a GM check. You are on it today, Mal. You are running, and as you do, it's almost like that snow, you're getting tired, it's cold, you can feel yourself numbing up, and bears are fast. And it's almost just this, like a wall hits you as this huge, heavy sort of mound of fur and teeth and hot breath comes crashing into the side of you as it pins you down onto this ground, and it is very heavy. What does Reese do? You can see this paw coming sort of up, and it both looks heavy, and you can see the claws themselves sort of coming out. You can see your arrow in the side of its shoulder, this welt sort of coming up, also freezing as it does.
I think if the bear's on top of him, I think the only thing he would think to do is to try and get to his knife and maybe hurt the bear enough to get it to leave.
Okay. Could you roll me a speed check, please?
A 5.
Okay. As you sort of reach for this, you sort of go to reach for your blade, and as you do, you swing it up almost to protect your face as this paw comes crashing down, and you feel this strike sort of across your face, across your shoulder, and you hear something snap in your shoulder as your arm goes in the opposite direction. Just in the sense that it is pushing your arm out of its way, and it sort of you feel more and more pressure, almost as if you feel yourself sinking into the snow as it lets out a huge roar, and you can see these long teeth and the saliva as it sort of looks down at you and opens its jaw.
I think he roars back, but more out of pain than actually like yelling back at the bear. But it's sort of the between what the bear is doing and being terrified, it comes out as a big yell back at the bear's face.
You both roar at each other, and as you do, there's this moment where the snow not starts to clear, but it's a moment you're not too sure if it's the pain welling up in the side of your shoulder that you are going delirious or something to that effect. But you open your own mouth, and as I said, you scream back at this creature. And as you do, you can feel that surge of agony sort of just all the way down your arm, across your chest, and that burning like sting across your face. And you hear something somewhere. And as you let that scream out, you close your eyes as this head comes sort of lurching down towards you. And as you do, you blink. The snow has stopped. The bear has stopped. Everything has frozen in place. It's the first time you realized you could freeze time just for that moment.
I think he's confused. I think he just is staring eyes wide at this open bare mouth and the stopped snow and breathing heavily, just what's going on? I can't stay here. Okay, what do I need to do? And I think he's going to... Oh, jeez. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with bears in real life. I don't remember my Boy Scout training.
As you sort of lay there, you look up at this jaw that is sort of just inches from your face. You can feel the heat coming from it. But as you do, you can see even this bear's sort of fogged breath is frozen in time. And you can feel the weight of it on you still. But as you look around, even the small snowflakes in the air have stopped. Technically, there's a blizzard, but you can't feel it.
Yeah, I think he's just like looking around, trying to figure out what's going on and what he can do, because this, I mean, bears are heavy, and his arm is pushed, and even if he's not technically bleeding right now with whatever's going on, that pain is still there, that burning sensation from the attack. And I think the only thing he can think to do is if he can kill the bear before it starts to move again with whatever's going on.
Okay, you roll a might check for me to sort of almost throw it off with a strike at the same time.
I'm gonna roll with advantage because Roll20's been real mean.
Okay, everything stops for a moment. And you realize as you sort of swing your fist, the bear isn't moving. It's like it's frozen in that moment. But there's that second where almost where this blood is still sort of welting up. There's a second where you can hear song. You can hear your sister's song. And as you blink again, you stand away from the bear. In fact, you look back and you can see yourself underneath it still, but you are looking on the scene rather than being in it. And you can see somewhere in the snow just ahead, again, this snow itself has paused. A little girl with raven dark hair, singing in this forest.
He runs over to this, I mean, it's gotta be his sister. He runs over to Astrid, yelling her name.
And as you head towards her, it's almost like you run and you run. And as the closer you get, the further away she seems to get. But she still sings, and now you realize her back is to you. But no matter how close you get, you are always far away. And you stand for a moment in this snow where there's this sort of deep pit of snow where it's been leveled out. And you realize you're stood in this giant footprint. Almost like the day that you lost her. And you hear her voice as she stops singing for a moment. It's not good to stay stopped for too long.
How do I unstop? I don't understand. Astrid, I don't understand.
Look what it's doing to you if you stop for too long. And you can look at your hands. And all of a sudden there's like a pool in front of you. Water, not frozen. As you look down at your face. And it's aging. As you stay in this reality. You just need to get out of it.
How though? How do I get out of it? I don't know what I did. I don't know what to do.
And she pauses. You sound scared.
I am so scared.
I was scared.
I know you were.
Not your fault, Reese.
I wish I could believe that.
I know they say it over and over again, but it's not. And it's different here.
I want to... I know I can't, but I'd rather stay here with you. But I don't know how to stop whatever this is. How do I move again?
And she stays quiet for a very long time. And then almost as if this snowdrift comes past, you watch her image just fade away as part of it. And you're left in the snow. And you look down at your hands and you see them starting to age, your face starting to age. And that blood that is currently pulsing out of your side is getting too much. Almost you feel weak and so cold. Colder than you've ever felt before.
I don't understand. He walks back to himself and he looks down at himself. Get up, keep moving. Just push onward, keep moving forward. Get up.
Somewhere there's a sound that you've been taught to fear. As you hear a wolf howl. In fact, you hear more than one somewhere in the distance. And as this almost frozen in time as the blizzard stops again, you do realize that the sun has set and it has got dark. And as you do, you can hear that that pant of breathing of a wild animal. And it's the eyes you see first. The eyes sort of piercing through this darkness. It's almost as if they glow. Before this huge auburn-coloured mist seems to snake out of the forest. The eyes still blazing, and it has a form. It has some sort of shape at first, and you can hear it howling as it comes towards you, but it looks like a wisp more than anything else, as if smoke from a pipe. And you can feel that haziness of the cold sort of creeping into your mind as well as your body. And this wisp itself is very deep red, starts to surround you as if it's circling before almost engulfing you completely. What would Reese do? Also, thank you for that hype train. Going crazy.
I think because it has eyes and it's howling, he might have some idea what's actually going on, being distorted by whatever else is going on. But I think he would just trying to find the eyes in the mist. Can you help me, please? I don't know what I need, but I need to get up. I need to get out of here. I need to get up.
And you feel yourself almost as you're thrown into this mist. You feel warmer. And it is a mist. It is exactly that, because if you reach out, you realize you pass completely through it. Of this creature, this being that seems to have come to you, is incorporeal. And it gets warmer and warmer, and you feel like you can almost hear your heart and the blood pumping in your ears. And then you feel tired. And as you do reach a bit further, you feel fur. And somewhere you hear that song again. You feel your eyes close. And as you slowly open them again, they feel so tired, as if you've slept. And you lay deep in that snow, where that bear attacked. You can see as you look up to the sky, that snow stream is still coming down heavy. You have to sort of flutter your eyes open a few times because of the build-up of the snow on your eyelashes. And to the right of you is a dead bear. As it lays in the snow, and you feel a heavy weight on your chest as a large red wolf sleeps almost completely on top of you, keeping you warm. You can see a little bit of blood around its muzzle. And you can see the snow building up on its back and the top of its ears. But you wake up. Your hands still look old.
I think he laughs, but the laugh quickly turns to crying because of just everything that happened in this time. Seeing his sister being trapped in whatever that was, expecting to be dead, and now waking up with a red wolf, something that people haven't seen in a long time. And it's here, and it saved him as far as he can tell. And I think he just lets all of the emotions go through him, and he cries and laughs and whatever needs to get out of him as this wolf sleeps on him.
And that's what it does, it sleeps. And you can feel her chest rise and fall as she sleeps, and she doesn't make a sound as you cry and laugh. Even if you talk, she doesn't move. Her heavy sort of head does roll to the side a little bit, so it's closer to yours. But that's where she stays until the blizzard stops. Her weight, the weight of her body over your wound,
I think eventually he just even feeling like he slept for who knows how long, but everything being so tired, I think he just, as he starts to fall back asleep under the warmth of the wolf, he just, the last thing from his mouth before falling asleep is, "Thank you, Astrid."
and as your eyes slowly close, the snow stops, and a star shoots across the sky. Soon, followed by a meteor shower. And you fall asleep. And as you blink, again, you're back, present day, looking at Balder, who sort of just sat looking up at the sky for that moment. As a memory came to you, and you can hear Astrid by Gideon. You notice that she's got closer and closer and has started putting a heavy paw over him, almost like she did to you on that day.
Reese reaches down and kind of ruffles the side of Balder's, like by his ear, on his cheek. "I need to do something before we head back."
And he looks to you.
And he just takes out this piece of animal bone that he's been working on for a little while now. And he takes out some of the leather, like what he used to repair Edric's coat. And he takes out that piece of obsidian that he took from the leftovers of Florence's hammers. And he spends some time making this all into a knife. And on the handle is carved in the shape of a dragon, and right before the blade starts is a symbol of a door, similar to what he saw Edric put on Florence's hammer. And when it's all finished, he ruffles Balder's fur again, starts to head back to the group.
As you do, you head back. Balder sort of close behind. Moore seems to still be scouting the area as you go. And you can see Polla and Edric stood near this arch. Florence looking back at what happened. And you can see Rika sat by the fire, seems to be getting some sort of food ready, checking on Gideon every now and then. And Tuva is sat, not separately, but just a little further away, mainly because she's trying to teach this dragon how to breathe fire. And you can just see this sort of... Because she saw it breathe fire back at the excavation dig, but it doesn't seem to be able to do it necessarily at will. She saw it do it as they came to rescue Gideon. But right now, this dragon is just huffing and puffing out this black smoke, no matter how hard it tries.
He'll go sit down with Tuva and the dragon. How's it going?
You know, she did it earlier, and I don't know why she can't do it now.
I mean, she's still not fully grown. Then she might be tired.
She sort of looks at this dragon, and they sort of stare at each other, and you can see that it's now probably about half her size at this point. And you can suspect this poor thing still gets dragged at the same time. Though it doesn't seem to mind too much. But she looks down at it.
How big do you think it's gonna get?
Big enough to fight giants, I hope, at this rate.
How are we gonna feed it?
She sort of looks towards this dragon that is currently, Rika, you can see, is flicking some form of like dry meat or something in its direction as it's jumping up and snapping at the food.
Well, when we get home, you can just feed it your mom's famous noodles. I mean, they're a big hit, apparently.
It's true. But Mum got really angry at bringing home a silver, so I don't know what she's going to be about. A big, full-grown dragon.
I mean, it's your mom, right? She'll adjust to it. It's as long as you come back, I think, is what she really wants.
Oh, she's going to drag me back.
As she sort of like, not...
If that phone call was anything to go by, I'm in trouble.
I mean, aren't we all in a little trouble?
Why? What have you done?
I just mean, I feel like your mom is the kind of person where we're all gonna get pulled on the ear and dragged home.
She nods slowly.
Probably. Yeah, you're right. We're probably all in trouble.
And she sort of looks around the group, and especially with like the people who are in the cage who are asleep right now and look at the devastation around. It's like,
we probably shouldn't tell her about this bit.
Probably not. But I'm sure, oh god. Learia? I forgot as a player.
Lyaria.
Yeah. I'm sure she's just tired. She's not fully grown, you know. Fire breathing probably takes a lot.
And Tuva nods.
She gets real big. Do you think I'd be able to ride her like the things in those drawings?
Definitely.
She looks very happy with herself at that.
That is something I will get in trouble for, but it'll be very worth it.
Well, how does your mom feel about knives?
And she looks towards you for a moment. Is it?
What kind of knives? Like chopping knives, cooking knives, knives to pick locks with? Like, what are we talking about here?
I think he just smiles and like holds out both hands with this knife covered up with just a quick cloth, and I thought you might want something. You know, things are getting dangerous, and I know you have magic and a dragon, but I don't know. I'm not as good as Edric. I'm sorry.
And she sort of moves the cloth back to have a look at it properly, and she's like,
For me?
Yeah.
and she looks at it in this very childlike wonder. She's like,
I don't know how to use it.
I mean, I can help with that too if you want.
You show me how to do what you do.
Some of it, yeah.
and she smiles and slowly reaches out, almost like checking with you that she can take it before she does. And she holds it up and looks at the handle. You can see her smile. Point goes to the dragon. It's you! Like, as she sort of shows this to the dragon and Brenna, and then holds it in her hand to see what it's like. You know, she's flipping it from one side to side and pointing it in different directions, and looks at this obsidian blade.
Now you're in more trouble than me. If Mum finds out you gave me this, I can lie for you.
I mean, I've spent my whole life in trouble. I think I can handle a little more.
Yeah, but this is my mum.
And she sort of starts putting, she places this blade very carefully on her blanket to the side.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And I'll use it only when necessary.
It's all good tools or have a specific purpose, so only when necessary.
And it's easier to hide than a dragon.
That's true.
And she smiles and looks towards the rest of the group, and Gideon, who is sleeping but seems to be stirring slightly. And Astrid, who lifts her head up from Gideon's chest and looks over towards you. Her ears flick a few moments as if listening around. But then she rests her head back down again. And I think we'll take an earlier break today. So we will be back in just about 5 minutes. So everyone go get a drink, stretch your legs, tell your pets you love them, and we will be back in a moment. Bye. Oh, hi, everyone. We're up in the frozen north and everything is fine. So, Florence, as you are sitting at this camp, you have Rika by your side, and it's getting later and later in the evening. But you can see that Gideon is starting to stir. He's not awake, but he's definitely kind of regaining a little bit of maybe energy. You're not even sure, but you can see Astrid stirring. And Avric and Polla, where are you at this point? Would you have gone to sit down, or?
If I recall, Avric is actually, after he would have helped out with Paula, was making like a sled and like a some kind of a way for us to be able to carry
Gideon.
Gideon. I was thinking Gabriel, and I'm like, I know it's not Gabriel. So we can take Gideon with us before he's fully rested. Basically, something like we did with Tolan, just to have a little sled or skid that we can take him with us. Probably hitch it up to his wolf, maybe even to help pull it.
Yeah, you can definitely make something like that. It's pretty standard. I think it'd be very, very easy for Avric to make it. There's loads of bits and bobs around at this camp, so you could make it. But are you staying the night, or are you all going to keep traveling through the night?
I mean, it seemed like most of us wanted to go because we didn't want to stay where the other people knew we were, right? We want to get to the bridge both to get met up with by Jin and everyone, and also we don't want to stay where the seers and church and who knows what else know that we're here. It's kind of the way it seemed.
Yeah, I think Paula is probably pretty eager to get a move on.
Yeah, I think the risk of traveling at night compared to staying in place is the lesser risk in this case.
And Florence is ready to move on from this kind of place of almost violence for her.
Yeah, you can definitely, Rika extinguishes the fire. You can easily have made something to pull Gideon along on. You've got Adrian sort of with Rika at the back. They seem to be gathering some form of supplies. Anything that's left at this camp that they sort of deem useful is being gathered up. Balder seems very insistent that he is the one to drag Gideon on this kind of makeshift poly thing. But you can start to move, and as you all pack up and start to head off, Reese, you see Tuva slip that knife into like her jacket. It's got a dragon on her shoulder, which almost looks like it's too heavy for her. And Brenna sort of clutched to her back. But you'll walk, and you pass through that archway as you look up, and you can see all the carvings. And after about 10-20 minutes walk, you can see the bridge of Thara as it comes towards you. Now, this bridge is about 60 foot in width. It is a big bridge. And you can see as it sort of cascades over the landscape in front of you, you can hear the rushing of water, the rushing of the ocean beneath this bridge. What this bridge is built over itself. And you head towards this bridge, and you can see it is carved from the very rock that is here. And it's very decorative, but you can tell it's old. You can see these huge pillars that reach down low into this almost raging, very dark blue ocean, where the ice is gathered around the side, sort of stretching up its pillars. Snow sort of sits between the broken, I say cobbles, these huge slabs that sit over this bridge. Large, sort of almost ornamental magpie pillars sit at the very beginning. You can just about see the end of the bridge. This is long, and it's a dead straight line. The snow is falling down as well. But this bridge is wide. This would hold up an army crossing. Just, you can imagine just hundreds of people filing past. It's very ornamental. But you can see how sturdy it is, as it is carved out of 2 mountains that meet across the river. Welcome, raiders! As this huge bridge, as I said, is carved from 2 landscapes, 2 mountains where they meet. And you know, this is where the gap is taken between the ice coast and the North Fae, a land that people don't tend to go to, or many have said they've never explored. But there it is, in front of you.
For such an uninhabited place, that's a pretty massive bridge.
Just, it is an actual constructed bridge, not like an ice bridge.
No, it's not an ice bridge. This looks old. It's an actual construction.
It's
literally carved